10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Battle of America. Wheel wreck while whistling. Oh my god, can they please change that name? Up against Complexity Gaming here. And I'm SP Revolution 5, joined by Dragondropdota, and already the draft is picking up pace very quickly. Dragondrop, how's it going, man?
Well, it's going great. A little bit late for me, but that shouldn't stop me from casting.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
You'll at least be here for the first two games, and if he's not here for the third one, I can handle it, lock it down solo. Of course, after that, we'll have Leviathan up against eHug. Don't forget, that is on Dota 2 Lounge, so go place your rares, put it all in, on eHug preferably, because I bet on Leviathan, you know. Anyways, Wheel has looked very good. Complexity has looked very good. In fact, Wheel and eHug, that match was a slaughter fest. Now, it was 5 days ago at this point, and
10 seconds remaining.
that's a pretty big gap between us seeing the two teams. But still, I think we're going to see a lot out of them tonight. Wouldn't you agree, Dragondrop?
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch the match, but I mean, it just stands to reason that if you get further and further into a tournament like this, and this is actually the winner bracket semifinal, so we're pretty far in right now.
It's the winner bracket final, basically. I mean, there's the grand final right afterwards. I don't know why it says semifinal on the.
But it says
schedule.
it says it in the doc, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's where I'm taking that from.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, we're pretty far into the tournament, so it stands to reason that only the best teams will be left. And yeah, if you look at these teams, Wheel and Complexity, then you definitely see that this is the case. So I'm looking forward to a great match right now.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, sorry about plopping my face up there for the viewers right beforehand.
5 seconds remaining.
I messed it up. I've got the other overlay set up right this time, though. Anyways, we are going to see Ancient Apparition picked up by Complexity right now. They've also got Faceless Void and Jakiro. Big team fight coming out of them. A bit of push as well with the Jakiro, but well, I don't know how they plan to run this. They could run it off lane, they could run it safe lane. Jakiro, off lane Void. They've got a couple options. Of course, Wheel, though, they've got the Brewmaster and the Necro, and that's the main reason Complexity are picking up the AA.
Yeah, I really love that pickup. I mean, first you have the synergy with the Faceless Void, and then of course always the counter to the Necrophos heal and the sustain that comes from the Sadist as well as the Death Pulse. So a really great counter pick to the Necrophos, trying to deal with him, be aggressive on him, and then make sure that his impact is heavily mitigated.
Yeah. I do like the Naga Siren pickup, however, while it's going to allow them to disengage from team fights, it's also going to mean that AA has a little bit of an upper hand, because he's not generally going to be right in the thick of things in a team fight. So he can often land the AA ulti, even if Naga's walking away from the team with the song as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky for Naga to use the song, definitely, especially at least when people are low health, so that the Ancient Apparition could capitalize on that. But yeah, it should be a good reset tool. I mean, if the Faceless Void doesn't manage to catch the Naga Siren in the Chronosphere, for example, then Naga can just pop the song, maybe reset, unless the Faceless Void already has a BKB, of course. But yeah. That's just the way of things. Of course, you can also use it to set up aggressively if the Ancient Apparition does happen to be with the rest of the team, and then you kind of just come out of the woods with the song going, lock everyone on place, make sure that the Brewmaster and Necrophos and whatever else they want to pick up are in a good position to start the engagement.
Yeah, I do like the Ogre Magi pickup, though. It's a lot of burst damage to bring down Necro or Naga in the early game. It's great comboed up with the Ancient Apparition. Ice Vortex, amplifying the magic damage. Big deal right there. Of course, another stun as well to help set up Jakiro Ice Path. This does, however, put Jakiro into a core position. However, I feel like he's one of those heroes that's really good up against Naga because he does have a way of getting rid of her illusions rather quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not easy, but yeah, he can do it.
Well, at some point, Naga will have a heart, will have a butterfly, so at that point it becomes a little bit trickier, but of course early on in the game, that can help quite nicely. But yeah, I would expect a Jakiro on the offlane at this point and Faceless Void in the carry position. unless they want to mix it up a little bit, maybe even put the Jakiro in mid up against the Brewmaster. Wouldn't really hate that, to be honest. Even though the dodge, the dodge can be a little bit tricky though to deal with, because it will dodge the entire effect of the liquid fire attack. So maybe not the best matchup here. So I would assume the Complexity will be putting that Jakiro in the offlane, looking for another mid.
But talking about burst damage, we do have the Lina already picked up by Wheel. And keep in mind, we don't have a real standard lineup from them at the moment. It's not like, okay, this is definitely a core, this is definitely a support. We've seen Lina core, we've seen Naga support, even just this weekend at DreamHack. And it is Dota, anything can happen, of course.
Yeah, it's conceivable that both of these heroes are supports, but just in terms of how they scale just with levels, you can definitely run it as that. And Lina, for example, she needs is level 6, and at that point she can help out Necrophos, really securing those Reaper Scythe kills, and then move on from there. So, really like that pickup in that regard. It's of course a little bit tricky, because if you don't really have a setup for the stun, if the Naga Siren isn't there, for example, then it can be tricky to land it. And if you get caught out, then, especially by an Ogre Magi, Ancient Apparition, you don't really have the highest health pool. You're gonna pop really quickly to that as well.
Yeah, what's coming up in my mind is the the Cloud9 EG game on Sunday. Did you get to watch any of DreamHack over the weekend, Drag and Drop?
Yeah, I saw the grand finals.
Yeah,
good stuff.
The one with Zai on the support Naga that eventually just became position 1.
That was absolutely crazy. We started out as a support, and maybe 30-40 minutes in had more net worth than
RTZ, right?
Than the carry.
It was a thing of beauty, and
that
is the flexibility of Naga. Like, she's mainly run as a carry these days, but the support factor is still there, and it's something you have to be very cautious about. They ban out the Doom as well, which is another very flexible hero, but I feel like Wheel are going to go ahead and lay their cards on the table with their last pick. This is going to be the river, if you will.
Yeah, that stands to reason. I mean, they can do some weird things with, like, putting Jakiro mid, as we mentioned, but it's going to be a Zeus, so...
Yeah, a hero Complexity really like.
Zeus. Yeah. And
they've been known to run an
as
offlane,
well.
though.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they will put the Jakiro mid. Maybe they do something completely different. But yeah, we'll see about that. Probably still a good matchup up against a Brewmaster, I would say, simply because you have really strong harassment, and you don't really need to get close for the Brewmaster to be aggressive on you with the clap, because you can, if worse comes to worse, you can always rely on your Arc Lightning to get the CS that you need.
Yeah.
But I really like this pickup, just in terms of synergy with the Ancient Apparition as well. I mean, once you hit... I mean, just imagine late game, Ancient Apparition, level 2 ultimate as well as maybe an Agnum Scepter, Zeus with an Agnum Scepter ultimate as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage coming out, just out of nowhere.
I'd really like to see Elder Titan actually come up for Wheel right here as a support. Because with Naga Siren's Song, you can set him up really nicely. These heroes from Complexity are not the tankiest, but they're actually go with a Pugna. Whoa.
Okay.
As a...
I'm not sure I would have liked the Elder Titan too much, because then they would be really lacking on the damage front, I would say.
You could argue either way, yeah.
Yeah. At least it would be very tricky for them to actually find the right engagements. I mean, they can take them, of course, but it can be quite tricky to execute them properly. With the Pugna, that can help you tremendously, simply because you kind of make the enemy not want to engage you, because you have that ward down, the Nether ward, and then you also have the Nether Blast, the Corruptify, and the Life Drain, all very great spells to just throw out AoE harassment, maybe save someone from physical attacks from the Faceless Void with the Corruptify, or just chase someone away with the Life Drain.
Of course, yeah, it's a very powerful hero. I just wonder if they even plan to go late game, because both teams don't have that much late game. I was looking at, there we go. Sorry, trying to update the overlay before we put it back up, but there we go. I was looking at Complexity's lineup specifically, and the only late game they have is Void and maybe Zeus. Jakiro, he doesn't carry. He works as a core to an extent, of course, but
Yeah, I mean, Jakiro can provide a lot of utility, and so can the Ogre Magi, and it's something that you cannot underestimate in the late game. I mean, if that Ogre gets an Aghanim Scepter, then he always has a stun, and especially in the late game when the BKBs run lower and lower, that amount of control that the Ogre can put out, and Jakiro as well with the low cooldown Ice Path, that can really mess with you and secure the Faceless Void the space he needs. On the other hand, you do have a Naga Siren on the other hand, which is kind of the equivalent carry in the late game scenario on the wheel, which can just play an entirely different game. It can just suck the map dry of resources, already starting here, taking the bounty rune, and then just split push you to death. So
yeah, it's basically a farm sponge.
Void is not really the best hero to fight up against that, simply because he's kind of a team, Chronosphere, hit everything and kill everything.
Anyways, let's go ahead and introduce the teams. I'll start off with Wheel, your split push boys right now. We've got I'm a Sheep, who does indeed sucks on the Brewmaster. We've got Derp Derp on the support Lina. The other support will be played by Fan of Soyan, otherwise known as Goody, on the Naga Siren over there. We've got Relic on the mid lane. Pugna should do pretty well, but it'll be interesting to see how things develop for him. And up top, Sleazel will be playing the Necrovos. Drag and drop.
Yeah, the opposing Sleazel is gonna be that Jakiro, as we mentioned, in the offlane played by Limp in the middle lane. Got Zeus played by Dragonfist here, standing in once again for complexity. Pretty much a regular stand-in for the time being. Moon Meander gonna be playing the support Ogre Magi here, already trying to stack but failing because of this Sentry Ward right here, which leaves Z-Freaks on the Ancient Apparition supporting Swindle on the Faceless Void in lane.
Yeah. I asked Zin when I cast it with him the other day, since you were napping a little bit on us. But
yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's fine, man. But I asked him, are they really considering Dragonfist as a member of the team? And he said, well, Bloody Nine was never officially a member of the team. We feel confident moving into this, so looking into it.
Don't get gone on. Chilling Touch does a lot of work here. Derp will get the stun on too, though.
That was a nice stun, but I'm not sure he's going to get out alive. Z-Freak manages to find it. Swindle and Z-Freak taking a lot of damage here, but Moon Meander, he's fat, and he can hit pretty hard early on, 61 base damage for him. And Fan of Soyan, he's going to take down Z-Freak, as actually they do manage to trade for Moon Meander. So a 2-for-1 trade. First Blood going over to Complexity, but it looks like possibly 3? Yep, 3 heroes going over to 1 hero on the enemy team. That's 800 gold for Derp Derp here. And I'd say that's perfectly fine if you're on Wheel's side.
There was a great start with the Chilling Touch and getting the first blood, but then they got greedy. Then they didn't disengage when the Chilling Touch ran out, then they ate a Riptide, they ate a good stun, and then Lino was just still having plenty of mana to go to play with. So, very good turnaround here from Wheel, making this aggressive tryline work, which is actually a little bit weird if you think about it. I mean, when you ever see a Lina to begin with, and then
when you see a dual
melee with a Brewmaster and a Naga Siren in lane, I mean,
the only aggressive support that's melee we see these days is Ogre Magi, really, and it's actually working out really well for Wheel. I mean, even Elder Titan, you see him sitting in a defensive tri-lane more. And actually Moon, he'll be coming up here, but Fan of Soyan, he's sitting Invis right under Limp. His Invis will run out, and Limp and Ogre are both going to realize it. Net comes out, a Riptide as well. There's the Ancient Apparition Chilling Touch, as Jakiro does manage to bring down the Naga. There was a lot of damage going out to Moon. He'll actually manage to stun up Derp Derp. The Light Strike Array, though, will connect. They need another Dragon Slave, and they'll get it. Derp Derp not wasting any time throwing off the Dragon Slave, able to get those extra 2 right clicks off, I think it was, that would really secure the kill. Very nice play from him, and we've seen him on a lot of different heroes, but nothing quite like Lina that has a lot of nuke potential and a lot of very high early damage.
Yeah. And it shows the complexity you may not be familiar with just playing against Lina, simply because you don't really see her all that often.
Yeah.
And it's the second time they kind of overcommitted and then just died to Dragon Slave here.
And this is where these squishy heroes in the early game, I mean, I'm not really considering Ogre Magi, but especially the Zeus, the Void with low-level backtrack, and the Ancient Apparition, they can be early food for this Lina, who keep in mind, has all of the enemy team's kills and a death.
Well, it's gonna be early arcane boots for her, or just a lot of wards, it seems like.
Yeah, the boots and the TPs and the magic stick, which the magic stick will help Lena out a lot here early on, simply because this enemy team is pretty spam heavy. Once Zeus comes near you, Ancient Apparition and Ogre, and then Jakiro wanting to throw off Dual Breath and Ice Path every few seconds, it seems.
Yep.
It can work out great. And Zeus, even, he's going to pick up a Soul Ring right now. He's getting good farm in the mid lane, but Relic is definitely out-farming him. I think Relic is the player I want to be in the mid lane, because he plays a lot of Shadow Fiend, he plays a lot of Pugna. I haven't played much Pugna recently, but some of my favorite heroes personally, you know?
Yeah. I like playing Pugna. I mean, if you can really get him online, then he can be very annoying to deal with. I mean, if you get that Aghanim Scepter and that 0-second cooldown on the ultimate.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, you
life
stunned
draining,
me.
mana drain all the
What'll
time.
I do?
Yeah.
Life drain again.
Yeah. Can be a lot of fun, but you have to get to that point, and Relic is right on track if you want to go for that route.
Yep.
And yeah, of course, the Nether Wards is actually really helping him out against Dragon Fist. I mean, normally as a Zeus, you can spam out that Arc Lightning to get the CS, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Relic is able to punish that whenever he chooses by just putting down a Nether Ward.
I mean,
That's
it's
why
not
we
too
see
much
him
damage
putting
for
hacks,
Arc Lightning coming back out at him, but if he wants to be aggressive and throw out a Lightning Bolt or, God forbid, an ult, it's really gonna hurt. Even with the level 2 Nether Ward, which is still, I mean, 1.25 times your mana cost. The big thing I think with the Zeus, though, is picking up, or the Pugna, is picking it up against the Ogre Magi. Like, these days the Ogre Magis are getting their Scepters earlier and earlier and earlier, and BKBs, they may not be out, so a nice thing you can have is just the Nether Ward to stop them from throwing it out. Meanwhile, up top, though, Life Strike Array is actually going to miss slightly, and no blood going to be spilled. There'll be a Death Pulse out, but Moomiander, he's got high regen. Jakiro has relatively high regen as well. They'll throw out a Dual Breath once again, and a Zeus ult just to secure the kill for Dragon Fist. Derp Derp dropping relatively low on 130 HP, but won't fall to the Liquid Fire. Doesn't have any HP regen though, so...
Yeah, be careful here, another Ignite on level 2. That's only level 1, so never mind. Shouldn't kill him, but... Ignite plus Liquid Fire definitely will, so he has to be a little bit careful about even going back to base, because Lim was looking for that interception.
He'll just go ahead and TP out, and I think that's the smart thing to do here. Plus, from the base, he can go ahead and rotate around the map. He can possibly find a rotation that's a little sneakier, because when you know they've gone back to base, it's a little awkward to figure out where they've been going, or where they are going, rather. Excuse me.
Yep. Speaking of someone going somewhere, Z-Freak is in kind of an excursion into the enemy jungle, looking to wrap around here on Relic, who's out of bottle charges, so he has a self, but that's easily cancelled. If they want to go for anything here, it doesn't look like it. At least for now, just places down an aggressive Observer Ward to just keep an eye here.
Yeah, I like that decision from him. Where
bottom lane though. Whoa.
Oh. Yep, Brewmaster is going to go down here. Naga will create illusions, but they'll get zaps down a little bit. Wheel had very nice push, but there's also pretty nice anti-push from Complexity. And up top, we're going to see the Decrepify come out onto Jakiro just to stop him from engaging on Necro. Didn't quite stop it there. Pugna does manage to finish off Ancient Apparition, and Derp Derp now finding the Ogre Magi and on a mega kill streak. They won't get Jakiro, but 2 for 1, even if it is your hard carry, is a pretty decent trade, because you got to keep in mind, even though Pugna is still for some reason labeled as a support, he is a core hero 90% of the time.
Yeah, he definitely should be. I mean, sure he can support, but not really well. At least not in the traditional sense, because if he doesn't get farm, he's gonna fall off really quickly. So he can't really spend any of his gold on wards. Kind of needs to keep up. He needs some mana regen. He needs ideally an Aghanim Scepter if you really want to play around that life drain as well.
It's generally either Ags or Mech as his first big core item. Maybe Necrobook is an option as well, but it doesn't give you quite the amount of tankiness that those do. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Sheep trying to grab himself some farm, still sitting quite a bit behind a Blink Dagger, but with the Naga Song, it's kind of like that Centaur ult. Our team doesn't have to have, Blink Daggers, because they can just walk up to you. You know?
Yeah. that makes sense. I mean, it's not as instant. I mean,
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the surprise element, but
Yeah.
it can still work.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I've seen teams just be caught by a Nagastar ultimate and then turn around and take the team fight for themselves because, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, it gives you time to set up in a nice position.
The
But
problem
when
with
it
doing
comes
that
to-
here is the nether ward, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing that's really gonna be the deciding advantage from the setup like that because otherwise, hey,
Oh,
sure, you can get yourself into a good position, but when it comes to actually prepping or just thinking about the right spells to use,
oh,
they-
Moon Meander's going down to the scythe. Yeah, go grab yourself a Coke, buddy. It's gonna be a while. Meanwhile, Void actually manages to find Pugna on the mid lane. Despite being under the nether ward, he threw off the Chronosphere, it looks like, and he's actually got 1,300 in the bank, so should be picking up a, I'm assuming, Mask of Madness pretty soon or something. Hasn't got that many last hits, though, for being in the off lane, or in the safe lane. But again, he did have a rough start. Dying very early is not that, not that
Yeah.
beneficial, of course.
He's still doing quite well in terms of net worth, sitting right up there with the rest of them. It's actually only the Pugna ahead
Yeah.
for side of Wheel, ahead of everyone though, so it's kind of where you want to be if you're running that hero.
And while he's item dependent, I don't feel that Pugna's items are really helping him do more damage aggressively. It's just more of a I can stay alive and continue to do damage kind of thing.
Yeah, so there we
They'll
go.
take the tower, and here comes the song from Goody. They're already split off from the Brood. He doesn't want to risk getting stunned here. Nice Death Pulse. It'll actually chase down Moon as well. One down already, and the Courier was under fire here. They're going to move it away and go ahead and get him up here. And Moon Meander will be going down. AA ulti only connects on Fan of Sorian, and they'll be able to keep pushing under this. He only took a little bit of damage there, to be honest. And they have a headdress as well as a buckler up on, I believe, the Pugna.
Radiant's top tower
Yep.
is under attack.
Actually, a full mech complete on him now after that team fight.
Is under attack.
Yep.
So a
This
pretty
tower's
big
not long
win
for
for
the
Wheel.
world.
Are fortified.
Yeah, it's definitely not, considering that Naga, she did just use her illusions, but she's going to use them to pull the creep wave away from the tower.
Yeah, and with the Nether Blast, I mean, that's another thing that you really have to do with the Pugna. I mean, this is a stat around of win rates with Pugna. If you don't, oh, there we go. There's a good
And there's the
icon for
AAO.
absolutely everyone. Inside the Macropile, there's gonna be the Zeus ultimate. Nagastar still burning. There's another bolt of lightning here. Fenrisorion might still die. Necrophos
No,
definitely
he's
does.
not, but Necro does, yeah. I mean, getting 3 for 1 and sending 2 running back to the fountain, that's a pretty big deal, especially when you get the deny on the tower as well. You lose a bit of map control, but I feel like this is what Complexity needs to do. They need to show that they can team fight early and sort of force fear out of Wheel,
Yeah.
excuse me. And just make it so that, yes, they can push, but do they feel safe to push? And I don't think that's going to be the case 5 minutes from now. They need to get another tower just for their own confidence, not to mention their gold lead as well. Complexity, though, with that fight will skyrocket back into a gold lead.
Yeah. I mean, as I was trying to say, I mean, if you're running a Pugna, you kind of have to get towers because there's this good start around. Oh, there we go. Relic dies again now. Ice Blast into the Chronosphere. So yeah, that's the synergy that we were talking about earlier in the draft. I mean, synergy with the Chronosphere and whatever order you put them out. There we go. Limp's gonna get caught up by a net. Sneasel's right here as well. Everyone's dropping everything on him, so he's gonna be taking the fall,
Yeah.
creating space for Complexity for the rest of this team to get the hell out. Out, it's 5 men here in middle lane. Siegfried does have another ultimate.
I feel like the lineup of Wheel, though, is online. While Complexity still doesn't feel comfortable. I mean, there is a Mask of Madness up on Void. What's his courier got? An Aquila. Okay, that's good. It's some extra stats. It's still not amazing, though.
Yeah, I mean they're online, but I feel like I'm a little bit worried for them if they're grouping up as 5 like that, because we saw what happened last time, and
Yeah.
yeah, guess what? Jakira's maybe down.
Oh, and there's the AALT.
Yeah,
It'll connect on Relic, Sleazel, and Sheep. But he's just going to split off and say, I don't care. Sleazel can still push the tower. They don't have the follow-up at the moment. The Faceless Void comes in, but he gets lifted into the air. That won't purge his Mask of Madness like a Yule's, but Pugna takes down the tower with one more blast. another kick in the nuts, if you will. And they're going to just retreat after taking the tower.
Yep. I mean, if you hadn't split there, then Complexity might have just pounced and gotten them with the Zeus ultimate and Zeus spells and static field and everything from him, just bringing them down solo. As it stands, I mean, that split was the only thing keeping Complexity from doing that, so they managed to wait out the Ice Blast from the Ancient Apparition, and then managed to mech up and take the tower. So
nicely played by them.
Yep.
Indeed.
Living on the edge.
Naga looks to be going for a Vlad's, and I like this pickup, but I don't think it's the perfect one right now. And Derp, he's going to get hit with a multicast, a Lightning Bolt, and an Ice Blast to finish him off. That's all it takes to kill you? Yeah, just, you know, an ult and 2 very high mana cost spells. I mean, yeah, sure. That's all.
Yeah, well, pretty cheap considering in terms of cooldowns.
Yeah, of course. And we got Brewmaster already with the blink up. For an offlane Brewmaster, getting mana boots as well, 15 minutes is fine in my opinion. There is a Midas coming up on the Ancient Apparition, but that'll just secure the Ags for him. Jakiro actually managing to find Necrophos.
And the Song even committed trying to save him, but it was just not enough. Or not in time even.
That's the other thing about Zeus against
points.
Naga. You would think generally, okay, I can just Song and get out of any situation, but if Zeus isn't still caught in that Song, he can ult and he can hit you.
Under attack.
Yeah.
Dire's
Oh man.
tower.
They do get the tower denied, but Complexity is finding kills all over the map. I mean, Z-Freak is just camping here in his bottom lane, just playing the mobile artillery that he is. He even got himself a hand on Midas now, just to get the levels up a little bit quicker and pave the way for an Aghanim Scepter. So I really like the way Complexity is playing this.
Yeah, they are definitely playing it out smart.
Yeah, they're not overcommitting.
Yeah.
Like they did in the really early game, but they just keep landing those Ice Blasts and coordinating around that as best they can. I mean, they have plenty of ways to do that. With the Ogre Magi having fairly high range in the spells, and Jakiro of course the same. Swindle can just walk in Chronosphere, and Zeus of course can throw out his spells from a considerable range as well. So
Yeah,
kind
there'll be a
of don't
Zeus
have to
illusion
go too
scouting out
close.
for them
Dire's
as well.
tower is
They're going to go after the top tower, and they should be able to take it down relatively quickly. A Glyph will get forced out. There's 3 rotating in at the moment, and they're going to back off for now. There's a Yule's up on Zeus, though, and though Jakiro may not quite be to his yet, he's very close, and he actually picked up a cloak as well. Oh, smoke from Moon, but he's the only one left, and the rest of the team's like, guys, I think we should leave, maybe not. They're going to throw out the Zeus ult. Moomiander getting one more double multicast of Ignite off before he goes down to the Lina. But honestly, they took out a Brew, they lose an Ogre Magi. It's a good trade, once again.
Yep. There's the Ice Blast coming in. Will it hit something? Nothing of consequence.
Yeah, Naga not even getting the debuff there. But that ground sure is chilly.
Yep. Gonna need some good boots to walk on that now. To say the least, but yeah. So we're 18 minutes in, and the team with the partner only claimed 2 towers. So
No, they've
not
claimed
exactly
3,
the best.
but still
Oh, yeah,
not the
never mind,
best.
they claimed 3. But that was denied though. In
Yeah.
the top lane, and they gave up a pretty big team fight to get that deny.
That's the kind of thing you have to do when you draft something like this, though. You have to
Yeah.
push no matter what. You can't just say, oh, we lost a team fight, let's sit back and farm for a second. You're on a clock of Void will outcarry your team, unless Naga for some reason gets farmed. And right now, I'm not sure what we're going for. I think it's going to be Crimson Guard for Fan of Soyam, which would be good. But would it be enough? I'm not so sure.
I don't think so either, up against all this magic damage coming out from Complexity.
Yeah,
It's just gonna help him against.
It'll help him against the magic damage because it'll just give him flat HP, but it won't help the team against that. It'll only help the team really against Faceless Void.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever he builds, it doesn't look like a Radiance, and if you want to transition that Naga Siren into that carry position, then you need to have that farming capability coming with the Radiance. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to pull ahead as far as you need to.
Yeah.
Right, Z3 closing in on that level 11. So
I
that's a
mean-
big milestone for him.
I think that's what we're going for, though, for sure, on the Naga, the Crimson Guard. The Naked Vanguard definitely doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would much rather see a Diffusal than a Naked Vanguard. But if you can turn it into a Crimson, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, even
actually, Chrono, on I'm a Sheep, I'm sorry about the lack of camera control there. The song will bail him out for now. He's going to split just to survive and actually turn around and go after Swindle, who will time walk forward, get hit by a net, though. And actually, Swindle, he's going for a Battle Fury.
Okay. It's being chased, still chased down. There's going to be counter engagement here.
Yeah, Brew will go down.
Brewmaster as he comes back. Soyeon stunned up. Those are the illusions. They're going to be cleared out instantly. Do they get a Lucky Bash? They don't need it.
The Zeus Lightning Bolt will do the job. Yep. And no song was available there. That is the danger of having an under-leveled Naga Siren. In the late game, sure, she'll have song every minute. But level 9, you've got a 3-minute cooldown on your song. Like, if you're going to use that, you actually definitely need to either take a great fight or save someone. And this is where I'm not as keen on support Naga.
Yeah. I mean,
they take down Lina as well.
Lock down Faceless Void and then turn around on him. But he's quite tanky right now with 3 levels up into the backtrack. And, of course, the Time Walk and everything. That was taking way too long to try and bring him down with only 2 heroes. So that gave Complexity more than enough time to just get everyone else to that bottom lane and just turn around quite easily. Then even finding Lina down there at the tier 2 was just an added gift, essentially, for Complexity to take.
Definitely. Sleazel, in the meantime, he's... is that a heart? Okay, it's a pipe and a Vit booster. It looks like. They're just building raw HP to try and survive these team fights. The problem is, if you survive but you do no damage, they can take however long they need to kill you. Because you can't kill them, period, you know?
Yeah.
The only counterpoint there is that, well, Complexity are squishy once again, and you don't need that much damage to kill them. Meanwhile, though, Z-Freak, he's a 1400-ish from his Axe, right? 2800, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting closer and closer. And the problem with building just raw health points up against an ancient version of Trans Survivor is that, I mean, sure, it's going to help you, but it's not going to help you as much as it otherwise would. Simply because if you get hit by that, then first you won't have any regen, as we mentioned earlier from Necrophos or the mechanism on Pugna. But you also, like the bottom half or the bottom parts, bottom part of your health pool essentially is cut off, because if you drop below that, then you're gonna shatter, right? There we go. There's gonna be Chronosphere, Dirtdrop, gonna be blown up, so will Fan of Soyeon, so... Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was quite the brawl right there. A lot of them going ahead and falling. But I mean, Complexity are really starting to pull ahead. They did have to expend big ults to do it, but if they can kill off these heroes, there does come a point for Wheel where they're not coming back. I really
going back in here. There's a mini ice blast. Hits on everyone though. Steedle. The pipe will keep him alive a little bit longer, but Moonman is here as well. Plenty of damage to bring him down.
It's a team wipe.
Yeah. Wow.
Dragondrop. Remember though, it's not the size of the ice blast. It's how you use it.
Absolutely. I mean, it can be the smallest ice blast in the world if the enemies are huddling close together like that, and it doesn't really matter. So yeah, they get 5 heroes, they get a tier 2, get a lot of gold to boot, so it's closing in on a 10,000 gold lead now. Z-Freak will have his Aghanim Scepter and about 300 gold, so...
Also a 14k XP lead.
Yeah. Things are not looking good for Wheel right now.
Blink up for the Jakiro, even.
Yeah.
He can now blink in Yule's Ice Path kill, basically. The only downside is, of course, he's not going to be doing much right-click damage, but when you've got so much spell damage that kind of... If you're using a BKB just against a Jakiro, he's probably had to commit his Ice Path. You're not going to use it against just Dual Breath, unless it's literally going to kill you right then and there. But he can kind of bait out BKBs with this combo. And actually, Zeus ult will be thrown out just in time. Naga Siren's song comes out. They do get an Ice Path off on part of the team. They're going to go after Swindle, but an AA ult's coming in. Swindle gets the Chrono off, and the Dual Breath coming in. There's lots of Pugna Ward zaps coming out, but that's 2 down. Sleazel in trouble. Sheep about to shatter. He's going to look for another hit. They'll do it. Dragon Fist on the monster kill streak now. And they'll take down Goody as well. It could be yet another team wipe. 14 complexity right here. There's the Ice Path. There's the last Liquid Fire hit. And this game just got way out of control for Wheel.
I saw it coming, and I was just praying in my mind, please, no, please don't go on Faceless Void. The Chronosphere was coming off cooldown just right then and there. The Ice Path was on the way. Everything got absolutely everyone. Limp was on low ground throwing out spells, and Zeus was of course also there somewhere. Yeah, Wheel with that desperation smoke ran right into that one.
And here's the other thing,
considering anything of the sort.
Complexity has their late game secure. They've got a Battle Fury on Faceless and 4K gold.
Yeah.
Like, his BKB is ready if he wants it. And they have no problem pushing with it as well.
And, yeah.
I'm not sure we'll even want to build them, though, to be honest.
Of course they don't want to, but they need to if they want to survive, right? That's a big problem.
But then we go back into our other question. Is surviving and simply surviving enough?
No, it isn't.
It's a big flaw with Wheel's draft. It's
first step, right?
Yeah, it is the first step, but 25 minutes in, if you're still taking the first step, you got a lot of walking to do.
Yeah. And at this point, the partner will start falling off as well. And pretty much all of Wheel's heroes, apart from Brewmaster, who can... He's kind of pretty much a tankless here.
Ooh, Relic gets hit by an Ice Blast. It's not going to be enough. But
there's a Zeus ult available, though, level 3. Should be enough to bring him down, actually, if you think about it. Maybe.
With a Scepter, I think it definitely would have been. But it's too late now, yeah.
I would have just thrown it out for the lols, I guess.
I think they're waiting for another team fight after Swindle gets this Aegis, which he will be picking up right now. He drops his poor man's shield as a monument to Roshan, I guess. And Sleazel getting jumped on. Net out from Naga, but no song available. Dragon Fist now godlike, even though he's actually playing the most godly hero in the game. And Relic, he's going to be under fire. He'll Decrepify up and throw out a Nether Blast. But the chain from Faceless Void in there will end up taking him down. Z-Freak able to find the Naga with another one, and they'll call GG right now. A Chrono just thrown out for the heck of it right now on Sheep, and a multicast as well. Complexity will take game number 1, 33-14 in 27 minutes. A very action-packed game, and a very decisive one. And Wheel, they thought they could get away with the push strat, but they're not going to be able to right now.
Yeah, Complexity kind of making it look easy with the heroes. They can, it's definitely possible. I mean, Ogre Magi, Zeus, Ancient Apparition on top of that, and Z-Freak has been hitting every single Ice Blast. Well, not technically everyone, but everyone that he needed to, right?
Yeah, and
it's a big part of that. Dragon Fist, obviously, just providing all the nukes. Swindle kind of helped out by the fact that Wheel ran into 1 or 2 of his Chronos.
I was going to mention Swindle as well. The chat was originally saying, why is Swindle on carry now? Swindle's not good at carry. He's good at initiation. In this metagame, you've got a lot of carries who are going to initiate. Faceless Void, Naga, Spectre. Maybe not as much Spectre, but you get the picture. It's a very important role to be able to play, and he definitely played it well. Keep in mind, Dragon Fist as well, 10-0 and 18. He was not a part of 5 kills. Like, that was the only thing that he didn't get a part of. The other problem is for Wheel, they have 9 kills on their support Lina. Like, it's great that she got all those kills, but wouldn't you rather than be on a core? Anyways, there's just some stuff for you guys to think on right here. We're going to have game number 2 coming up in just a moment here on Doom TV 2. Of course, I'm SB Revolution 5, joined by Dragondrop. You can follow us on Twitter under those names. We will be right back, so don't go anywhere.